Let's move, flip the page now to the other issues of the day. Is the issue of the state bailout. The bailout given by the federal government of Nigeria, over 700 billion naira worth of bailout, which has been announced by the federal government. Well, some states are saying that they do not have the funds yet. But there's been controversy over that issue. Is it legal for the federal government to give this bailout? Well, what should the federal government be doing? Well, a federal lawmakers went to court. He sued the federal government for giving the bailout in the first place. Before we look into this issue, let me bring into this matter a political economist, if you may call him, Mr. Galatima Lima, who joins us via telephone from his residence in Lagos. Well, okay, I understand that he's not there yet, but then let's quickly have these issues of the fact that what is the burden of what the states have, what they have from the federal government monthly, from the IGR, what exactly it is that they have, and exactly what goes to each of the states. Let me quickly bring that to you now. My producer will give that to me now. What goes to every state every month. We'll give you just exactly from which state gets what and which of them, okay, very much now, the burden of unpaid salaries, how much of it goes to each of the states now. How many months some of these states are owing, from Abia State to Bauchi to Benue and Ekiti states listed the months where they're owing workers in those states. And if you look at it, just beside it is the 2014 and 2013 figures of the internally generated revenue that you get. But let me give you an understanding of the states and what they get in terms of IGR from the least to the highest now. All right, that's it. The state IGR report from the bottom five, the Bauchi in 2014, 2015, Nasarawa, Kebbi, Ekiti, and Zamfara. These are the states and what they get in terms of IGR. Let's look at the top five now in terms of state IGR. And you see there, Lagos, Rivers, Delta, Enugu, and Ogun State. Well, that gives you an understanding of what exactly is going on now. But let me bring on onto the matter now a professor of law, Professor Itsey Sagay, who joins us from his residence in Lagos. Thank you so much for allowing us into your home this evening, and thank you for being a part of the program. There is a federal lawmaker who's gone to court about this matter. Give us an understanding in the perspectives of law how this pans out.
Yes, I'm extremely surprised about this action taken by the lawmaker. The amounts of money, the monies that have been distributed at the federal level to the states in this attempt to pay salaries were not taken from the federal government budget. They were taken from the excess crude, not excess crude account, from the NLNG payments, and possibly from the Sovereign Wealth Fund. Now, it's very, very clearly stated that there's a formula for the sharing of all these monies that accrue to the federation account. And I think that's what I need to emphasize, that these are monies which ought to go to the federation account. They do not belong to the federal government, but belong to the whole country. And what the states are getting, as far as I know, is their share of what they are entitled to from the federation account. If they get more than that, possibly it could be on the basis of actual lending from the federal government. If that is the case, it's a different matter. But the bulk of what they are getting is what they are entitled to from the federation account. So I don't think there's any basis for this legal action against the federal government at all. The person bringing the action is under a misapprehension that it is the federal government funds that are being distributed to the state governments. That is not correct.
All right, let's take a listen to what the federal lawmakers, what his grievances are on this matter, and perhaps, maybe, just maybe, he has a case in court on this matter.
It's in the public domain that recently the federal government granted aid, what they call grants in aid, involving billions of naira to states and local governments across the country. In as much as we sympathize with the financial situation of the states, in as much as we sympathize with the consequences of the financial situation they have found themselves, where many of them cannot pay salaries, yet we feel that Mr. President cannot sacrifice political expediency on the altar of constitutionalism. That is what I feel as a member of this 8th National Assembly. We have gone to court to challenge what we think is an arbitrary act of the federal government. We feel that the power of appropriation rests solely with the National Assembly. We feel that the power of determining which state gets what at any point in time is not anything the federal government can entertain or engage on its own without recourse to the National Assembly. To do so would be for the federal government to act in a cavalier or perfunctory manner. And I believe that is not what the drafters of our Constitution intended.
Well, that's him there. Prof, what do you make of his defense on the matter?
No, I've heard him. He's acting out of sheer ignorance. His anger or displeasure is based on the wrong impression that the money that was disbursed to the states belongs to the federal government and therefore ought to have been based on the consent through a bill of some sort of the National Assembly. Now, the National Assembly, it does not own, or the federal government does not own what is in the federation account. All the formula has been established in Section 162, where the issue of 13% for the oil-producing states, and then the other parameters like population, density, the size of territory, the principle of equality, and quite about 5 or 6 principles like that. All these have been decided, and a formula has been created out of these various considerations, based on an act that was even passed before the present Constitution was established, an act that was passed under the Babangida government. So we already know the formula. So when the money is available, it does not need to go to the National Assembly at all. The states get their own, the federal government gets its own, and it's when budget is being prepared so that federal government can spend federal money that the states are that the National Assembly is concerned. At the present level, the National Assembly has no hand and no basis in what is going on.
Prof, tell me what to make of President Buhari's visit to the United States. We've seen him go to some countries since he became president, but this very trip to the United States with about 30 people, what's your take on this?
Well, I think it's an absolutely important trip because the United States, as we all know, is the most country in the world. It has a wealth of technological resources, which we need, and it has always been one of our greatest trading partners. And again, in terms of security, we need their technical input in order to resolve this tragedy that Boko Haram has inflicted. So if you look at political, economic, and security point of view, the United States is a very, very important country to Nigeria. So this trip is a vital trip.
All right. On the issues, two major issues that will be on the front burner when the president eventually meets President Barack Obama of the United States is the issue of corruption and how Nigeria can be able to retrieve some of the stolen funds outside of Nigeria, and of course the issue of insurgency. We know that at some point we've discussed with the United States about this issue. Do you think that the United States is now ready to be of assistance to Nigeria?
I believe so. I mean, since the election of President Buhari and the inauguration of this new government, there has been a very, very eager attitude by to work with Nigeria. There is a warming up to Nigeria, and this is very clearly also the case with the United States. We know that a lot of it is stolen by
we seems to be having, we apologize for the bad audio quality. There seems to be having some issues with the connections, but we thank you so much for your thoughts, Professor Itsey Sagay, and your interventions on the program. Thank you very much for being such a great company on the program tonight, from Senator Joseph Waku to Professor Itsey Sagay, and of course Mr. Gatima Lima, former presidential candidate here in Nigeria. Well, on behalf of the team here at the Channels Television headquarters in Lagos, I'm Sheon Wakimbale. Bye for now.